Now it's time for the best learning strategies. And I am honored to have Miss Jillian Douglas as my guest for episode 4 of the Concerning Learning video podcast. So thank you, Jillian, for being my guest.
Thanks
Uh,
so much.
yes. So I just want to share a little bit about you with our viewers and our listeners. Jillian is the co-founder and chief learning officer at Idea Learning, an innovative learning and strategy organization where she and her team create experience-based, open path, and purpose-driven learning. I love it. Idea Learning has won several awards, including a 2018 Portland Business Journal Small Business Innovation Award for their product Diversity Works. Jillian is the co-author of Let Them Choose, Cafeteria's Learning Style for Adults, published by ATD Press, which I have my copy of.
Yay.
Yes. And with more than 25 years of experience in adult education, Jillian has a passion for conceptualizing and delivering operational, managerial, and leadership-focused employee development programs. She also facilitates classroom learning and conducts speaking engagements on a variety of topics related to adult learning and development. Welcome, Jillian, to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Deidre.
Yes. So I have been following you for a while. You caught my attention with the cafeteria style learning because I love it. It is exactly what I promote, what I teach, experiential learning, let them choose. It taps into how you learn best. So it's something that I've been tracking for a while, and I'm really glad to be able to have a conversation with you about your learning strategy.
Thank you.
So this is more of here we are talking, and we'll have our conversation, and then I'll let you have a chance to kind of sum it up and give some advice to our listeners and our viewers. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So could you explain how Idea Learning provides experience-based open path and purpose-driven learning that's essential to fueling self-driving organizations? And yes, I have been stalking your website. And so that is a quote. So please just enlighten me, expand on what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a lot of words. So when we look at a purpose-driven organization, we are looking at best-in-class organizations and what makes them stand out. Why is Apple such, an innovative company? And it all starts with purpose, right? And if you think about Simon Sinek and his golden circle, with why at the center. It is that sense of purpose and understanding of why they do what they do that permeates the organization. And that naturally has to make its way into the learning culture. So a purpose-driven organization, it is driven by their purpose. They're driven by choice. They give people freedom to do the work that they do best. And we want to take that freedom and apply it again to the learning experience. And you've got to be able to be continuously learning. And so those purpose-driven organizations, they're all about learning. They're all about culture. They're all about freedom and autonomy. And so that's what we want to, those are the people that we want to partner with, and those are the cultures that we want to help create. And so to do that, we want to bring, we want to think about resources, not courses, right? How can we provide learning at the point of need? Yes. How can we make sure that people, when they're learning, they understand why they're learning something and how it connects to the big picture of the organization and how it connects to the work that they do? Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that people feel comfortable in their learning. So they're never being asked to participate in a learning experience that is uncomfortable for them. We want to empower them with choice. And people get choice all day long in their jobs. They're not being micromanaged every step of the way. And yet so often learning is, micromanaged. You will do this and you will achieve this and you will have this conversation. And we just want to give people the resources and the experience options so that then they can choose their own path through the learning.
I love it. This is exactly what adult learning is about.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when I hear it, I just hear all the terms, let them choose, autonomy, knowing why, all those things that make it a rich experience for adults is what you promote, and that's your strategy. And I love how we need to allow people the opportunity and the choice and the freedom. I love that, to learn, because a lot of times they are forced to either take a course or forced for some compliance training or whatever it is. And they, even with that, there still should be choices within that learning environment in order to make it palatable and real to them as individuals. So I think that, that strategy should be adopted for every learning experience.
It should. And don't you love how we're both using the word learning experience? We're
Yes.
not calling it training, the T word,
Oh, I
right? We're
like
not
that.
using
I
the
like
T
that.
word.
The
We're not
T
using that.
word. The T word. I like that. Yeah. And I'm really trying to, just that. That's actually the essence of the learning revolution, is learning. It's not about training. It's not an event. It's a journey. It's an experience. It's something that, like you said, is continuous. It doesn't end. And how do you make that a part of just regular everyday work and everyday life?
Right. Learning isn't something that you necessarily even are aware is happening, because it is embedded into the systems of the organization. It's embedded into the culture. It's embedded into the way we speak to each other, and the way that messaging happens top down and bottom up, so that we're all learning from each other all the time. It just becomes part of who we are as an organization.
Exactly. Exactly. That's, you tapped into something that is really near and dear to my heart, which is mentoring, and why I've changed the paradigm and made it more of a partnership, because there's always something to learn and there's always something to share.
Both
It,
ways,
it
right? That
is.
mentoring happens both ways.
Yes, it's that reciprocal partnership, and we both are vested in making sure that each person in the partnership learns.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. You are speaking my language.
Every time we talk, I get that sense like, yes, we're so connected. We're so aligned in our thinking. I love it.
I do too. I think that, I mean, I hate to say that this learning community is like a cult, but it kind of is, because we all, we get energized and we feed off of each other's passion, and you could just see the energy in the room change when we start talking about these concepts and how we need to, revolutionize how we learn. So, we could talk all day long.
All day.
So, let me talk a little bit more about this cafeteria learning. And that is something that, when I first heard it, I said, I love it. I love it because the way that I teach blended learning, I use like a blender, and it's the right mix and the right recipe for learning. So when this cafeteria learning fits right in. So
Mm-hmm.
is it something that we've already, I know we've talked about it, but do you want to want to add anything to just the concept of cafeteria learning?
Yeah. So cafeteria learning is all about that choice, which we just talked about as being so important. And most people are going to they want to experience learning in a way that makes them feel comfortable. I don't want to inspire that fight or flight. I don't want people to be rolling their eyes and thinking, oh, I can't believe they're going to make me do this, insert whatever activity.
Right.
And so we don't, when we design a workshop that's cafeteria learning style, we're not giving folks choice in what they learn, because
Mhm.
that's determined right by the strategy and the learning objectives, but we're giving them choice in how they learn. So the idea is, when you go into a cafeteria, you get to choose what you want to put on your tray. When you go into a cafeteria learning experience, you get to choose how you experience that content. And so we give people a menu, and it's got categories, which we kind of think are like food groups, if you want to take the metaphor,
Mhm.
and they get to choose how they experience that learning. And every time we get, I had somebody hug me at the end of one of these sessions, right? Because they were so excited that they got to be in charge of their own experience.
Oh,
And we get really good feedback that it's different, it's surprising, it's a little unnerving at first, but then they try it and they get it and they like it. And of course, if they're not thinking about how much they dislike the experience, they're going to be more open to learning and to the content.
absolutely. So in essence, it removes barriers to learning and allows them to really grasp concepts and learn new skills because they're doing it in a way that they like and that they learn best.
Exactly.
So, what does that look like? So, do you have like an example of what a cafeteria learning may look like? Because I want to adopt some of those strategies in how I design learning experiences.
hmm hmm So we've done a couple of things. Just at the last ATD ICE conference for 2018, we did 2 workshops, one on just kind of an overview of what is cafeteria learning. And then in the second workshop, we did a live design. And we gave people the challenge of designing cafeteria learning around the concept of uses for a paperclip. So we
Ah,
just took something completely ridiculous, something that nobody's going to have any hangups about. It's not, a lot of times you do something like that and they want to bring in their own
mm-hmm.
content or their own preconceived ideas. So it was just sort of um, content that nobody really had an experience with. And we had the coolest things. I mean, the winning team came up with just amazing activities. So you can do it with something as ridiculous as that. What are the uses for a paperclip? But we do a workshop on diversity, our diversity works, which is sort of a pre-made workshop, and it works really, really well. We have opportunities for people to learn about themselves and what makes them the unique individual they are. And then there's another track where they're learning about others. And then there's a third track where they're working through communicating with people who have different perspectives, which, oh my gosh, in the news right now, right? If we
Right.
could all just learn to talk with one another.
Yes.
So, it works. Sorry, I'm distracted. I've got this, I don't know if you can hear the noise in the
No,
background. Okay.
no, I can't.
We've
Sorry.
got major construction here.
Oh my gosh. No, I really
Anyway.
can't hear it.
Okay, so we've worked with it with content like the paperclip, like
Mhm.
diversity. We've worked on it, built cafeteria sessions on guest service skills. We've
Mhm.
built it on company history. We've built it on performance management skills and having difficult
Really?
conversations. So primarily we've used a lot of soft skills, not a lot of technical skills.
Uh-huh.
But I have seen somebody use it for onboarding, and I've seen somebody use it for new product rollout. So teaching salespeople about all the features and benefits of new products.
That is so cool. So am I, as I get deeper into the book, because I just started, will I be able to pick up those concepts and be able to apply that to my instructional design?
Yeah, that's how we wrote the book, was so that it's really a user's manual. So there's a little bit of theory and backstory to kind of set it up, but then the rest of it is really just walking you through the experience of how do you design your own cafeteria learning. And then we've got an appendix with some activities that we've used over and over that really are kind of templates that you can apply to your content.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I have homework. I'm going to dig in and I am definitely going to enhance some of my design projects with a cafeteria style learning because I think it really, when you're doing instructional design, you know this, you need to find ways to keep it fresh and to do some different things with it. And so, especially like you said, with soft skills, people get tired of case studies, they get tired of role plays. And so I can
Yes.
definitely see how the cafeteria style learning can help replace that and make that more engaging and more interactive, but allow them to learn in their own way.
Exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
wow. So I'm going to
So
have to,
once you do that, I want to write a case study on you and put it on my website on how you've applied cafeteria learning.
you must have been reading my mind. Maybe it's the headset. You read my mind because I was going to say, then you can write up, there's a case study in the making. So
Perfect.
we're on the same page once again.
Yep. Mhm.
Cool. All right. So, what advice do you give can you give organizations if they're having a difficult time finding the right content and the right programs for their effective learning strategy? Do you have any learning nuggets or anything to share with them on that?
Gosh, it all starts with, right, who are you as an organization? What are your mission? What's your mission, vision, values? What's your overall strategy? And then what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Where are your staff in regard to where they should be and where they are today? So much of that comes out in that needs analysis and trying to figure out, what are the goals that we have for the organization. And then I think so often people jump to the solution, right? Well, we need a class on this and we need a class on this. Classes are not the answers. Courses it's not the answer, right? It's putting learning in the path of the job. So where are people going to have the opportunity to bump into new knowledge, to
Ooh.
find the resources that they need when they need them? And then, what do we want them to know today, and what do we want them to know long term? So some stuff we really need to create a course around that. We want them to know it inside out and backwards, and it's just got to be embedded in the core of who they are. Well, that's one kind of learning. But then the other kind of learning is, I just need something once a year. Maybe I'm just doing a performance review.
Mm-hmm.
And if you teach me how to do that and have that conversation 6 months before I need it, that's just a waste of time, right?
Yep.
So figuring out what the content is and where to put it, I think is an overlooked aspect of that. And then when you do build content, making sure that it's accurate. So you're updating content on a regular basis,
Mm-hmm.
right? So as the business changes, as the environment changes, you're keeping that accessible, right? Making
Mm-hmm.
sure it's where people need it, and then accountable, making sure there are systems in place, and that as an organization, that learning culture holds people to applying that learning. So when I say accountable, I don't mean like a check the box kind of thing, but
Yes.
that's just part of who we are as a community, that we
Mm-hmm.
we learn things and we expect them to be applied. So I kind of think of those 3 A's: accurate, accessible, and accountable.
I like that. Oh, you've said so many nuggets in this. Like, I'm going to have to play this episode back several times so that I can take notes, because this is really, the essence of what we do and why we do what we do. We don't design training just so that people can go to training. We design it for the purpose of learning. And
Exactly.
I love what you said about bumping into the learning. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So I am really excited. I'm like ready to jump into my book, and I'm working on some projects and apply some of those concepts right away, which is why I really love the concept and always have of cafeteria learning, because it's so practical and you can implement it immediately.
Yep.
So here we are for another one of our, rich conversations. And, I'm cutting it short because to fit it in the podcast, because we could go on and on and
We
on.
could talk all day.
So we'll have to do a to be continued um,
Perfect.
for our conversation. But how can our viewers and our listeners get in contact with you?
Oh, well, our website is idealearning.com, or you can email me directly, Jillian@idealearning.com.
Awesome.
Oh, we're on Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else too.
Yes, yes. Got to get those social media
That's right.
channels in there. So thank you so much, Jillian. This has been an extraordinary experience for me. And I am so honored and grateful that you are a guest on this episode of the Best Learning Strategies.
Thanks so much, Deidre.
Thank you.